The Rape of Lucrece is a narrative poem by William Shakespeare, and it's been adapted for stage by Elizabeth Freestone, Camille O'Sullivan and Fergal Murray. We're here today to talk to Camille about working with the RSC on this production, which runs as part of the Dublin Theatre Festival.
The director, Elizabeth Freestone, she saw you on stage in Edinburgh in around 2008.
Yeah.
And that's where it began to germinate, this whole production.
Yeah.
How did it all unfold?
Yeah, I mean, I was even saying to Fergal Murray, who worked with the music with me, he's my right arm, my left arm on the piano, and I said, you know, we were very lucky because all our kind of, anytime I've been, when I did Stephen Frear's film, that came from being seen in Edinburgh. I'm a terrible woman at auditions, so the only way I get my gigs is they come and see the show. So luckily for me, I was, you know, performing and doing The Dark Angel. I think it was my 8th year there, and Elizabeth saw, and she saw something that probably Fergal and I didn't see in ourselves, which was very lucky. She saw a narrative singer, sings dark and light songs, chameleon-like, changes herself quite like an actress, and is into a text in a big way, and knows, wants to kind of go to, not afraid to go to the darker place. So I actually said to her the other day, I don't know if I could have done this poem if I hadn't done the 7 years of what I've been doing with the Nick Cave, Tom Waits, Brel songs. It's kind of, it was meant to be, but Elizabeth Freestone was the person who saw that. So we spent 10 days together whittling down the poem down to kind of an emotive story about this man and woman, and Fergal and I spent then that time setting the music to it. And that was really amazing because I had never done anything. Fergal's, you know, went to Goldsmith, he's very well trained in this. And all the kind of things of learning how to unlock lyrics with the Nick Cave song kind of came through for Shakespeare. The poem is written in a royal rhyme, which is unusual. I haven't a clue how to even say iambic pentameter, I can't even speak the thing. But what I did know was that it would be very hard to put music to his plays because they're not in that rhyme, and a royal rhyme is done in 7, so it helps when you're writing to music. And it was very contemporary. I thought, oh, maybe it's going to sound old-fashioned because of the words. But the nicest thing the RSC said, and people since of this, is they feel like it's very much a normal singer and a normal song.
Can you tell us the story of Lucrece?
Yep. So it's a lesser-known poem of Shakespeare he wrote when he was 28, and it's based on the historians Ovid and Livy, 509 BC, this story that Lucrece, this wife of this noblewoman, was sadly raped by the king's son Tarquin, and this wonderful, beautiful, chaste, kind of innocent girl, Lucrece, kind of metamorphosized into a political symbol for Rome, because once this awful deed happened, the royal family came down and the Republic happened because of this. So that's the political side of it. And when Shakespeare wrote it in 1594, around the time of Romeo and Juliet, we kind of got rid of the political side. It's the 3-hour poem, and we've adapted it into 90 minutes of a story, and our interest really lies in the great topics of Shakespeare, good versus evil, and what happens when evil is unleashed. Once this terrible incident happens, she transforms into a kind of a 3D, incredible, vulnerable, feral animal who's raging against what's happened to her. And it's really what he's brilliant at is going into the psyche of somebody's mind and how tormented she is and what she contemplates. She contemplates suicide of what happened to her. So, you know, I tend to tell people it's 400 years old, but really I empathise with it as a woman, and I have to play all the characters, so I have to kind of be him too, and I think it's a story that could happen now, you know, so even though it's a very old poem, it's a wonderful poem to bring to the audience because it's words they've never really heard of Shakespeare. They probably all know To Be or Not to Be in King Lear. So you're delivering new, beautiful lines, and what's important to me in this poem too is you're delivering the voice and the mind of a woman, which doesn't always happen in the plays because it's King Lear or Hamlet and you have this strong woman behind, but here for a good 40-50 minutes then you have her voice speaking. So that was exciting in that regard.
The language is quite beautiful, but
horrific.
Horrific, this a man with a knife
Yeah.
at someone's throat and he's raping her.
Yeah.
Was there a difficulty for you in playing both Tarquin and Lucrece?
I suppose having, you know, I'm a lover of the likes of Jacques Brel and Nick Cave, who, you know, like say the Mercy Seat or People Ain't No Good, like the going to an uncomfortable place is very important for me on stage, because light and dark, it's no use sitting on the fence or picket fence life going everything is gorgeous and people are thinking, you know, I've got a crack in my life, things aren't well. You need to, when you go to the dark place, you've got to go to it, and you go to the vulnerable light place, you've got to go to that too. So I always like I always like to go the full gallop in a show, and in this one particularly it lent it to it. So I think what was painful, I think what's interesting with poems is you know the title, you go, right, that'll probably make people not want to come, but theatre shouldn't be about like television pleasing you. It's about what happens on that journey, what transforms you as a person, what makes you go home to bed that night and goes, Jesus, I didn't realise someone would think of it that way. So it's not like the sensationalism of what news stories do now and tell you about terrible, like, poor girl in India. It's uncomfortable, but it's important. It was important for me to sit with this guy and go, right, you're not just a one-dimensional cardboard cutout, you're bad and she's good. Why, for half an hour, he fights with it the whole way. And what was important to go, why does someone do something so awful and so evil that they will give up everything? They will lose the kingdom, you know, will lose their life for one moment. They say in it, for the momentary joy of pain, hot desire converts to cold disdain. Pure chastity is rifled of her store, and lost the thief, far poorer than before. So for the first part of the journey, you sit with this man. At first I kind of hated him, and then I thought, you've got to show that he's a normal kind of guy, but he had this urge, and then lust took over. You don't need really a set. The set is gorgeous, but you need a set to be subtle and beautiful enough, which is quite difficult, I think. It's harder to make things look as if nothing's happening when quite a lot is happening on stage, and the lighting is extraordinary. It's like when I'm walking through it, I love, like, everybody jokes, Camille, go, well, you will find the light. I said, you kidding me? I'm a show pony. Of course I'm going to find the light. You know, it's my thing. Vince did such beautiful, like, a thing I do on stage too is I like to beckon light to happen on stage, like you're conjuring it up. The audience knows that's not the case, but we do that. We bring the light down to say it's darkness, and then we indicate it's coming up. So it's like it's a story, but you've got to be not like you're talking to children, but you've got to kind of add certain things on stage that help it and make it kind of magical. And, you know, that thing with the lighting helps, because it's just a little square. When I'm opening the door to reveal her bedroom, a little square lights up, which is the bed. And there's another kind of grid around it, that's the room. And then when I'm lying on the ground after the rape, when I leave, the outprint of my body is lit. So there's beautiful kind of things happening around me that I'm kind of like enjoying while I'm walking around too. It's called Daughter, Dear Daughter, and it is her father Lucretius pining for the death of his beautiful daughter Lucrece. Daughter, dear daughter, old Lucretius cries, that life was mine, that thou hast here deprived. For in the child the Father's image lies. Where shall I live now, Lucretius unlived? Thou was not to this end for me derived, if children predeceased progenitors, we are their offspring, and they none of ours. Poor broken glass I often did behold, in thy sweet semblance my old age newborn. But now that fair fresh mirror, dim and old, shows me a bare-boned death by time outworn. Oh, from thy cheeks my image thou hast torn, and shivered all the beauty of my glass. that I no more can see what once I was. O time, cease thou thy course and last no longer. If they surcease to be that should survive, shall rotten death make conquest of the stronger, and leave the faltering feeble souls alive. The old bees die, the young possess their hive, then live, sweet Lucrece, live again, and see thy father die, and not thy father